As we inch ever closer to the release of the PlayStation 5, Sony will kick up the next-gen hype leading into the holiday season. However, there's still plenty to look forward to in this current generation, especially for PS4 fans. So let's take a look at 15 PS4 exclusives out this year, or at least estimated to release this year. Lost Soul aside. We've seen plenty of great games, but Bing Yang's Lost Soul aside is perhaps the most amazing looking to date. Though the art takes plenty of inspiration from modern games, the combat is much sleeker looking, employing a combo system that's fast and quick. Yakuza Like a Dragon. Yakuza Like a Dragon is officially the 7th mainline game in the series. However, along with shifting to a new protagonist in Ichiban Kasuga, it adopts turn-based RPG gameplay. Don't let that dissuade you though. You can still expect the same over-the-top Yakuza action, with summons, crafting, jobs, and much more. That's not even counting the new minigames like Dragon Kart, a Mario Kart-like racing mode, or staying awake at the movies. Yakuza Like a Dragon releases later this year in the West for PS4. Guilty Gear Strive. A reinvention of Arc System Works' legendary fighting series, Guilty Gear Strive aims for a more streamlined, beginner-friendly approach. Dust attacks, Roman cancels, and the risk system are thankfully intact, as are classic characters like Soul Bad Guy, Potemkin, and Kai Kisk, though some, like May, have new appearances. With gorgeous visuals, hard-hitting action, and the series' penchant for rock and roll, Guilty Gear Strive could be a brave new beginning. It's out in late 2020. Persona 5 Royal. An enhanced version of Atlus's Persona 5, complete with all of the DLC from the base game, Persona 5 Royal adds quite a bit on top. Along with expanding the base story and adding new persona and enemy types, it also introduces a new phantom thief named Kazumi Yoshizawa, with a whole host of new scenes, interactions, and even a new palace. There will be plenty for fans and first-time players to dive into. Persona 5 Royal is out on March 31st, 2020 in the West. The Last of Us Part 2. Out on May 29th, 2020 for PS4, Naughty Dog's eagerly awaited sequel puts the focus on Ellie. All grown up and out for revenge against a mysterious cult, she'll be dealing with dangerous wildlife, human foes, and of course, the infected. The story undoubtedly has us the most intrigued, especially with regards to Joel's role and the impact that our violent actions are supposed to have. It won't be long now before all is revealed. Ghost of Tsushima. Sucker Punch's massive action adventure is out in Q2 or Q3 of 2020 and takes players to late 13th century Japan, specifically during the Mongol invasion of Japan. As Samurai Jin Sakai on Tsushima Island, players will hack and slash, sneak past, or strike foes from afar to repel the invaders. The visuals thus far have been incredible, and the sheer attention to detail of the open world is a joy to behold. If the side quests and combat hold up, Ghost of Tsushima could be a stellar exclusive. Babylon's Fall. Platinum Games revealed gameplay footage for the mysterious Babylon's Fall at Sony's last State of Play. It offered a mix of hack-and-slash gameplay, combos, medieval fantasy environments, and big bosses. Well, boss, since we really only saw the one. Sure, it was still the signature Platinum style of action that we know and love, but there's still a lot that we don't know. Hopefully more details pop up in summer 2020, including a release date. Final Fantasy VII Remake. Years and years of fan requests later, Final Fantasy VII Remake is a reality and releases on March 3rd, 2020. Technically, this is only the first part, but there's still heaps of content to look forward to. The Midgar arc has essentially been expanded with numerous events, minigames, plot details, and more. Combat has been revamped and is now real-time, though some turn-based options are available, and fan favorites like Cloud, Tifa, Aerith, and Barret have never looked better. If you're a fan of RPGs, Final Fantasy VII Remake simply cannot be missed. GRANBLUE Fantasy RELINK. Another PS4 exclusive RPG that's worth looking out for is GRANBLUE Fantasy RELINK, based on Cygame's popular mobile RPG. Taking place in a new setting, but featuring many familiar characters, ReLink boasts some pretty solid-looking combat with support for 4-player co-op and a great art style. Whether it ends up competing with the bigger names remains to be seen, but GRANBLUE Fantasy ReLink is looking good en route to its release in 2020. GRANBLUE Fantasy Versus. If an action RPG isn't your thing, then perhaps a GRANBLUE fighting game will suffice. Developed by Arc System Works of Guilty Gear fame, GRANBLUE Fantasy Versus features many of the series' characters like Gran, Catalina, and Metara. Perhaps the coolest addition, though, is the RPG mode, a side-scrolling beat-em-up with bosses and RPG elements. GRANBLUE Fantasy Versus is out later this year in the West for PS4. Marvel's Iron Man VR. Being Iron Man and soaring through the skies with a HUD reminiscent of the films seemed like a far-flung fantasy. However, Marvel's Iron Man VR is making it happen, exclusively for PlayStation VR. Releasing on February 28, 2020, fans will suit up and take on the role of Iron Man as he battles powerful villains. From what we've seen, the flying and blasting of things out of the sky does look good. Hopefully, the rest of the game holds up as well. Nioh 2. New weapon properties, new enemies, yokai attacks, and of course, new bosses to make your life miserable. Nioh 2 truly has it all. This action RPG is a prequel to the first game and allows players to create their own character while slaying demons in late 1500s Japan. Along with the ability to summon up 2 AI-controlled players to assist you, Nioh 2 will also support 3-player co-op. It's out on March 13th, 2020, and if it's anything like the first game, it should be a rollicking, punishingly good time. Project Awakening Arise. Cygame's other action RPG, Project Awakening Arise, was slated to release last year, at least according to a PEGI rating that surfaced. Whether it arrives this year or not is unclear, but the realistic visuals, Monster Hunter-esque gameplay, and fantasy aesthetics still look good. Perhaps the developer is focused more on GRANBLUE Fantasy Relink and will shift its attention to Arise afterwards. Whatever the case may be, we're looking forward to seeing more. Predator Hunting Grounds. Friday the 13th, the game developer IllFonic is back with another asymmetrical multiplayer shooter, this time based on the Predator films, the good ones at least. In Predator Hunting Grounds, players will either squad up with friends as a group of soldiers or prowl around as Predator and hunt the soldiers down. The squad will have missions to complete against AI foes, while the Predator stalks them from the shadows, and the sheer unpredictability of it all is tantalizing. Predator Hunting Grounds arrives on April 24th, 2020 for PS4. Dreams. Last, but certainly not least, is the full launch of Media Molecule's Dreams. As a creation toolkit, Dreams allows for creating various games, dream surfing through other creations, editing a home space shared by other players, or even partaking in a community jam. Dreams will still have a story mode to help ease players in, but the real appeal will be in the sheer number of playable creations. The game is out on February 14th, 2020 for PS4. And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from Gaming Bolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos.